Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the sheer historical weight of Pope Leo XIV's brand new 235-page encyclical Magnifica Humanitas. Now, to be clear, this is way more than just a theological document. It's actually one of the most significant, globally urgent policy warnings of our entire era when it comes to the moral future of artificial intelligence. We're going to do a deep documentary analysis right now on how autonomous systems are literally reshaping human civilization, how we fight wars, and what it fundamentally means to be human in a fully automated world.
So, to make sense of all this, we're going to trace the problem and the proposed solutions directly from the text. Our agenda covers 1. An epical turning point, 2. Why AI must be disarmed, 3. The technocratic threat, 4. An unprecedented alliance, and finally, 5. A civilization of love.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, an epochal turning point.
To really get why this matters, we have to look back. Exactly 135 years ago, Pope Leo XIII issued Rerum Novarum to tackle the massive, world-altering upheavals of the Industrial Revolution. Fast forward to today. Pope Leo XIV, who, by the way, fascinatingly holds a degree in mathematics, recognizes that we're facing a transformation that's just as big, if not way bigger. He intentionally timed to name this new document to mirror that exact historical moment. But there's a vital difference here. The Industrial Revolution replaced human physical muscle with machinery. The AI revolution, well, that threatens to replace human cognitive agency, decision-making, and our actual moral conscience.
And that brings us to this powerful quote. Today, we find ourselves facing a transformation of similar magnitude, with perhaps even greater consequences. The phrase greater consequences is doing a lot of heavy lifting for sure. The Pope is essentially issuing a stark wake-up call that humanity itself is on the line. This isn't just about getting faster computers or, more efficient supply chains. It's a seismic shift in how global power is concentrated, how we value inherent human dignity, and, terrifyingly, how war is waged.
Moving right along to Section 2, why AI must be disarmed. Artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed. I just want you to pause and let that phrase really land for a second. Why apply a heavy militaristic term like disarm to software? Well, it's incredibly deliberate. It's meant to be provocative. The Vatican is trying to shake the global conscience awake and slam the brakes on how we are rapidly and kind of unquestioningly normalizing machine-controlled violence and autonomous decision-making.
And the encyclical makes a brilliant comparison here, putting artificial intelligence right alongside nuclear energy. Think about that for a second. When humanity split the atom, the world quickly realized that this immense power was way too dangerous to just leave to unregulated private corporations or unchecked arms races. Nuclear energy demanded strict public control, serious ethical guardrails, and international treaties. The Pope is arguing that synthetic intelligence requires that exact same level of global, terrified respect. Both can advance humanity in breathtaking ways, but both possess an unfeeling capacity for unprecedented destruction.
Just to be super clear, the encyclical is definitely not anti-technology. The Pope actually calls human intelligence and tech advancement a great sign of hope. But disarming AI means freeing it from what he calls the logics of domination, exclusion, and death. For the average person, that basically means preventing algorithmic power from becoming a monopolistic weapon used by a few megacorporations operating totally outside of democratic oversight, international accountability, and human conscience.
Which brings us to Section 3, the technocratic threat.
So what are the actual dystopian outcomes we're looking at if we don't regulate this space? It's not just some sci-fi Terminator scenario, it's happening right now in our everyday lives. The technocratic threat is what happens when algorithmic efficiency completely overrides human dignity. We're talking about biased algorithms that silently, automatically reject your mortgage, block your healthcare coverage, or toss out your job application without a human ever even seeing your name. We're facing the hollowing out of the middle class, the de-skilling of human creativity, and this modern form of digital slavery, where a gig worker's entire daily life is dictated by the opaque metrics of a black box algorithm.
And the Pope writes, no one can be reduced to productivity, to cognitive performance, or to mere data. This hits the philosophical core of the crisis. When we let technology alone dictate what's valuable, humans just become cogs in a giant machine. We get treated like, malfunctioning robots that need to be optimized for maximum efficiency, instead of irreplaceable individuals with inherent rights. A fully automated society risks completely shutting out anyone who doesn't perfectly fit into a neat algorithmic model. And nowhere is this dehumanization more terrifying than on the battlefield. The Pope gravely warns that using AI in warfare drastically lowers the threshold for using lethal force. Autonomous weapons basically act as a psychological shield against moral responsibility.
It creates this horrific, sanitized distance between the action and the consequence. There is literally no human heart feeling the devastating weight of pulling the trigger. Victims are reduced to nothing more than collateral damage, just statistical data points on a glowing digital map.
Let's look at Section 4, an unprecedented alliance.
Knowing the Church absolutely cannot solve a technological crisis of this magnitude on its own, the Vatican launched this document with a highly unusual partnership. Christopher Olah, a prominent executive and co-founder of the Silicon Valley AI lab Anthropic, who happens to be an avowed atheist, joined the Pope on stage. I mean, wow! This surprising juxtaposition is powerful. It proves that the threat of unregulated AI is so universally alarming that it's bridging massive ideological and theological divides.
And this alliance makes a lot of sense, given Anthropic's recent legal pushback against the Trump administration's requests for unrestricted military access to its AI models. It perfectly highlights the exact real-world tension the encyclical is talking about. There's a massive, high-stakes tug-of-war happening right now between private tech development, government military demands, and the desperate need for strict ethical boundaries.
As Christopher Olah emphasized during the launch, the questions raised by AI are bigger than the AI research community. And that is a huge takeaway for all of us. Navigating these massive trade-offs, like balancing our civil liberties with national security, it requires independent verification and democratic mandates. We, the public, have to have a say. These civilization-altering decisions cannot just be made in a vacuum by a single government, a few military generals, or a handful of tech billionaires.
Finally, let's explore the solutions in Section 5, a civilization of love.
Using some really powerful biblical metaphors, the encyclical lays out two very distinct paths for our future. On one side, you have the Tower of Babel. It's a symbol of technological arrogance, where humanity tries to forcefully dominate without any moral grounding, which inevitably leads to total societal collapse and confusion. On the other side, you have Nehemiah's rebuilding of Jerusalem. That represents a collaborative, grounded effort where a community comes together to build a just coexistence, brick by brick, working totally transparently for the common good.
So building that better path requires a concrete roadmap. First, we have to enforce robust, internationally binding ethical regulations. We need to embed moral philosophy deeply into the actual innovation process, like actually hiring ethicists to work directly alongside software engineers. We have to fiercely protect human creativity and make sure meaningful work isn't fully de-skilled by automation. Ultimately, building this civilization of love means ensuring that human conscience is always the master and algorithmic efficiency is always the servant. The document wraps up with this thought. Let's not fear artificial intelligence, but constantly keep the question of the human in play. Really, the core message of this whole explainer is one of cautious hope, combined with a profound sense of responsibility. Technology itself isn't inherently evil. The danger lies completely in us abdicating our responsibility to govern it. We have to stay awake, engage in collective global discernment, and actively steer this revolution.
So, are we building a new Tower of Babel or a civilization of love? I'm going to leave you with that final, provocative question to reflect on today. The path humanity takes isn't predetermined. It is a choice we are actively making right now, algorithm by algorithm and code by code.